So today I have a lot of dolls to show you, and these are mostly all Lorelei Anderson dolls, and she's on Etsy, and she is called Lorelei Blue on the Etsy shop. And she is a artisan, and she does all her dolls by hand from the tops to the bottom. Nothing's porcelain, or it's all clay and hand sculpted. So everything is all from her sewing skills and her artisan abilities to paint and to mold the dolls, but not in molds. She does these herself, like I said. So that's what's really fascinating to me about these dolls, is they are not all alike. There's no one that's like another one. They're totally custom. And this one here I'm showing you is, I call it, let's say, the 1940s series. So the dolls I'm going to show you first are all 1940s era, with their dress and their makeup and everything, their whole entire look, all the way down to their shoes. And this one is kind of in fall colors, I guess you could say. And her face, some people think, looks something like my face. I don't see it. Tell me if you see it. Of course, her hair is a different color, but I don't know what it is, but there are people that thought this doll was made to look like me, and that was not at all what it was made to look like. But I just tell her I wanted a 1940s doll that was like a mom doll, and that's why she did this one. And I really love her red lips. One thing I love about Lorelei dolls are her hands. They're very delicate, and they always have nail polish on them. Usually, not everyone, but a lot of them do have nail polish on them. And this one is really pretty, I think. And you can carefully bend the legs and the arms. So I can pose these dolls too, wherever I want, sitting or standing. This doll, I didn't have her custom made because she already had it in her shop, but this is a doll that's totally 1940s, and she also has the beautiful red nails, and she has more like slipper feet. They're with little heels, little kitten heel on them. And of course her clothing is all like the 1940s. But her apron is a little weathered looking and torn because she is cleaning. So she's not going to look all polished up because she is the lady that cleans the house. And she could be a maid or just someone that is cleaning her house for the day. And I use her as that she's one of the maids in the 1940s house. And sometimes I name these dolls, so I always thought this lady's name looked like it would have been Lucy. And this woman here has a really neat hairnet in the back. It's real decorative. So she's not doing this just for practical reasons. She's doing it as a style with the bow. And so she can go out with this beautiful hairnet and her hair all rolled up like in big rolls. And she has pretty purple shoes on and a really beautiful dress. She even has a beauty mark on her cheek and red earrings, beautiful red lips, and eyes are green. And yeah, I think she's ready to go to the club, in the 1940s nightclub. And she has a pretty red fingernails. Now this woman, she either can work in the club or she can work, this woman I like to work in the bakery sometimes, or she can be in the other house as a mom in the house, because she's not really dressed like in club outfit material, but more casual. And she has these blue shoes that have ties on them, and she has the red fingernails, the red lips. She has some red bows in her hair. And see the back of her stockings there with the line. So back in the 40s, the stockings were extremely rare because of the war effort. And so sometimes you couldn't get stockings, so people would actually draw a black line in the back of their legs to look like they had stockings on, like the stockings that would have the black line in back of them. So we can just pretend that she is all about the war effort and she drew her own line in back of her legs. And this is a young girl that works in the bakery, and she's totally 1940s. It almost looks 50s, but it's still a 1940s outfit with the flared dress that is with the red shoes and a brooch on her that's like an ivory brooch, beautiful blouse to the collar, little white earrings, and a red bow in her hair, and she has little freckles on her face. She even has a charm bracelet she's wearing, and a little pearl bracelet here. And I have this lady up in the Victorian house at the very top, and she is typing, and she's an author, so she just rents out the very upstairs, and so she doesn't go in the clubhouse much or even in the bakery. She's just typing away all the time. And I did buy some glasses for her. They didn't come with the doll, but I thought they made a nice extra touch since she needs to see real close to the typing. And she has a cigarette in her mouth. And she has slippers on, and I love her blouse she's wearing and the collar on it, and the plaid skirt, long skirt. And then I had her make me two men because we have to have some guys here, so there's only two, but they look totally 1940s. I mean, look at his saddle shoes, and he's kind of has, like he has to shave, so he's a shadow. And yeah, he's got his cardigan on, and he has herringbone pants on with little cuff here, and nice white crisp shirt. And then the other guy has suspenders on with the same kind of pants. He has some brown shoes. He has, look at his socks, they're funny. And then he has a wristband on that looks like a watch. I kind of think he looks like Robert Redford, kind of. And of course, The Way We Were, that movie was based in the 1940s. And then I'm gonna see if this guy has socks on. Ooh, he does. I never even noticed that before till just now. I didn't even know she did that. How fun. Now these next two dolls are probably my favorite in the whole collection, to be honest. For the 1940s dolls, that is. And this one is probably my all-time favorite. I don't know why. I just think her face is absolutely perfect. I love her hair, her curls, her outfit, and she has a cigarette that looks like it's actually smoke coming out from it that she's holding, and her pretty hands. And then she has like saddle shoes on too that are with the heel. And then there's a bow in back of them. She has a pretty diamond ring on, and some little gold stud earrings. And I don't know, I just really love this doll and the way she looks. And she also has, let's say, real stockings on, because she wanted the real ones she kept with the line in the back of them. And the next lady is one of my favorites too, and I love the silky dress she's wearing, like a taffeta, and her shoes, and she even has her toenails are painted, and she has a cigarette in her mouth with a lacy top part of her dress that matches her netting in the back. And she has a lot of bling on, so she has lots of jewelry, brooches, bracelets, pins. Now the next dolls I'm going to show you are in my witch's house and gypsy. So I'll first show you the gypsy. And she has lots of layers to her dress. She has little pinafore underneath here. I love her shoes. She has lots of rings on, lots of rings. And she has some things hanging here. So there's a cauldron here. And there's a purple bead. Looks like a pumpkin here. And an acorn. And then she has some beads on. And I love her black hair and her face. And just the patterns on the material. And she has black stockings on. And then the other witch is really fun with her purple hair and her fun hat. And she has these kind of bloomers on and her shoes. Here's a bead here that looks like a feather at the end of it. That's metal. Some bracelets. And then a shawl. And a hat pin here. And I can take the hats off too if I want. And then the little witch that looks like Alice in Wonderland witch with her shoes and her stockings and her striped striped bloomers, lace apron. So it's a little takeoff on Alice in Wonderland, and her dress looks like it's an iridescent type taffeta, and a bow in the back and the hat that comes off with the hat pin. And she has lace gloves on that are the fingerless gloves. And I do have 3 broomsticks that I bought from Lorelei as well, that are really neat, organic looking with the broom handles. And this is a broom, not a broom, an umbrella holder I found, and I just stuck them in that. And I just put this in the hallway in the witch's house. This next doll isn't a Lorelei doll, it is a Donna doll that I showed Donna's dolls yesterday, and I forgot about this one that I had. And this one, I mean, she could have been from the 50s, but I'm saying she's from the 40s because she goes in the 40s restaurant and the bakery. So she has an apron on and her face is really pretty, I think, and she works in the bakery. So she is on Etsy, this shop, Donna's shop, with lots of food that I buy for the house. She has really good food and other things on her Etsy shop. And these 2 dolls aren't Lorelei's either. These I actually got on eBay. And they're kind of heavy, but they're very cool because I can pose them really well. And these are the dolls I have dancing in the 1940s clubhouse. And they are very, very 1940s. So this woman here, she has the fingernail polish on, and then our face is really pretty, I think. And very silky clothes on here. This is a vintage doll. I'm not sure when it was made. There wasn't any details on who the maker was, but it's done really well. Like I said, it's kind of heavy, so it's really hard to tell what it was made from. But what I like about this doll is the stocking, so you can see they're kind of shiny, and again with the seam in the back. But these are actual stockings on her, and I just think her outfit is so authentic for 1940s, although kind of like an Art Deco look to it with the jewelry and the pretty necklace. And then her dancing partner is this guy, and you know, he's in the military outfit where he was a soldier, and he, you know, it would have been World War II, so he came home from the war to see his lovely wife, and I'll have them dancing on the dance floor. And the other one I have in the bar, he is the bartender here, and this is a Jenny Kelm doll. And he's a really fun bartender with his herringbone vest on and his apron, and he has a bag of chips in his hand and a beer in the other hand. And the last two dolls are these, and these go in the Victorian house, and they're kind of like fairy tale dolls. And this one I bought this separate from it because I thought this lady looks like she should be doing some kind of needlepoint. And she is in her dress here that looks like an evening gown, maybe something she actually would sleep in. And she has pretty little slippers here. And I love this lavender color of their dress and her pretty looking ringlets and braid on top of her head, the bow, and she looks a little bit forlorn. So she is sitting mostly. I have her in a sitting position with this. And she is doing some needlepoint. And this lady here has beautiful hair and very long gown and very Edwardian looking in her, I guess you would say, bloomers, her nightwear, and her really cool looking shoes that have a heel on them. And this is kind of a bathrobe. It's kind of a sheer material. And I also have her sitting, and she's usually on the bed because she's taking care of her little baby. And so now I'll show you all the dolls in their settings that I have them for now. And these two are having some iced tea on a hot summer evening. Sitting on the balcony. This lady is typing away in her studio apartment. This lady's doing some cleaning with the vacuum cleaner that looks very 1940s because it's a canister vacuum. And of course these ladies are in the clubhouse, and the gentleman in the back is having some beer, talking with the ladies. This gentleman is sitting with this lady talking, and the nun is on the other side. And down into the bakery we have these dolls. This lady is back there just getting all the orders and the pastries and items, and this lady is also waiting on customers in the bakery. And then it's very sunny today, so I hope you can see this, but this is a little witch that is at her writing desk. And the Alice witch, and then the other witch. And then down here is the gypsy. And she is taking care of her little baby here. And then over next to her in this bedroom, she is doing some needlepoint.
Isn't this the perfect little escape?
Absolutely. We should come back next week.